Hi, I'm Cheryl Kagan, very proud to be the Senator for Gaithersburg and Rockville. It's Women's History Month, and there is so much to remember and celebrate, and so much to keep fighting for. This is a cool poster I've had for about 1 million years, and it highlights so many of the injustices. So, I want to start by thanking the 235 constituents who signed up to be on my Zoom meeting on Monday to talk about greater transparency, better data, and more dialogue when Montgomery County's public schools are talking about school boundary changes or school closures. We had a good dialogue. Although I did the talking, I appreciated everyone who submitted questions. It was hard to actually have a real back and forth. So we got questions, and I answered to the best way I can. It's on my YouTube channel, so you can check it out there. I do a lot on election law, and I watched in horror at the mess in Texas. It ended up being a primary on the Democratic side that was convincing enough that they will be moving forward in a united fashion. The Republicans have a runoff, but the bottom line is that the process was bad. I want to make sure that you know that Maryland's elections are not anything like that. Our system is solid, and there won't be that kind of voter confusion. Coming up, one more thing before I go to that. On Monday, we also had an oversight hearing. I am really honored to be on the Joint Oversight Committee with the Senate and House, and we kind of look over the shoulders of our boards, our commissions, our departments, our agencies to make sure that they're spending taxpayer money correctly. And some are not doing so great at fixing problems once our state auditor points them out. And so we're going to have 3 bills that all of us support that are going to be brought before, that's going to put some teeth behind enforcement and making sure that people fix when they have a problem. The other day, I spoke at an LGBTQ press conference. I have been a longtime ally, and in my very first year in the Senate, I sponsored and passed what I called fertility parity to make sure that married lesbian couples had access to in vitro fertilization in the same way that married straight couples have. That was the first state in the country to get that done. And then I've been working with Delegate Jared Solomon on making sure that bathrooms, when there's one stall, just as there might be in a hotel, a hospital, or an airplane, anyone should be able to use it. In Montgomery County and many other places, it's already law. It should be law statewide. We're going to try bringing that back next year. But in the meantime, I'm sponsoring a bill along with Montgomery County Delegate Bonnie Cullison on conversion therapy. In 2018, former Senator Rich Madaleno was the sponsor and floor leader of passing that law in Maryland. I was very proud to be one of a small number of co-sponsors. We need to strengthen it and extend the sunset on a statute of limitations, because sometimes the damage that's done takes years to be uncovered, especially if the damage, if the brutal and not scientifically justified therapy was done to someone when they were under 18 years old. So that hearing is coming up next Tuesday. So that is going to be something you can read about. There was a good piece in Maryland Matters today. I spoke on Monday also, I started off busy, at a Montgomery County nonprofit expo. I was delighted to talk about my 4 nonprofit bills and then introduce our amazing Congressman Jamie Raskin. One of the bills that I talked about was my SB 4, Senate Bill number 4, that is a Kagan-Ferguson bill, the President of the Senate. And yesterday, my Senate committee narrowly approved it, and it will be going to the full Senate next week. It simply would codify the practice for the last 72 years of the Johnson Amendment, which keeps our nonprofit organizations out of partisan politics. I don't think we want our food pantries, battered women's shelters, literacy councils in partisan politics and taking sides. Bad idea. And yet the Trump administration and a court is looking at throwing away the Johnson Amendment. We here want to make sure that we protect our nonprofits from this, and so if there is a ruling, that we will make sure that we protect that here in Maryland and protect the 41,000 Maryland nonprofits. Before I go, I have to celebrate a little bit of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem being fired by Donald Trump. He finally got what a total disaster she was, calling victims of ICE murders, calling them domestic terrorists. We still grieve for those innocent victims who were simply expressing their views as they are allowed to do as Americans, as activists, as citizens. And speaking of what they're allowed to do, there is a requirement that the president comply with, that Congress act on war powers resolution before he invades a country like Iran, before he puts our military at risk. And yet, once again, he took action and did not act with congressional oversight and sort of permission. So this White House continues to be unpredictable, cruel, short-sighted, and Maryland here in Annapolis continues to take action to fix some of what they've broken and anticipate some of what we believe could happen at the federal level. So with all of that, please make sure that you have subscribed to my podcast, Kibitzing with Kagan, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. They're brief conversations with people I find fascinating. I'm also all over social media. I hope you'll follow me in all those places. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.